What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having a blessed and beautiful day today. I have an article that I want to read for you today, and I'm going to title this video Antichrist Rising because this is very, very important, and you'll see why. This comes from Israel 365 News, and it says, Top Rabbi says America is collapsing. Israel must step up as the new world superpower. One of Israel's most respected rabbis has released a statement on the status of America as a waning world superpower and a message of hope for Israel to fill the void. This rabbi is part of or a member of the Chief Council. The big crisis that is currently happening in America regarding the outcome of the elections, Rabbi explains that that it's deeper than last week's incident on Capitol Hill, saying the big crisis that is currently happening in America didn't start with the storming of the Capitol. It started with the Democratic Party lack of confidence in Trump's presidency expressed in fiery protests across the United States and his being labeled in every possible derogatory manner. Chief Rabbi, added that the lack of Republican trust in America's election process also contributes to the crisis. With tremendous sorrow, we can recall this event as part of the process of the United States descending from the stage of the world history. It's a sad moment, but it's happening. And then it says, Pharaoh fell too. Recalling the fall of ancient Egypt, the rabbi uses historic precedent to back up his claim, saying, this is not the first time a superpower fell because of a crisis of values and returned to being an ordinary country among other nations. That is what happened to Egypt and Rome in the old days. That is what happened to the Ottoman Empire approximately a century ago, all the way to the Russian Empire that collapsed 30 years ago, both of whom collapsed due to failure of values that led to their demise, as well as a decline in their great power as world leaders. This rabbi also recalled the collapse of France and Great Britain, who were once considered part of the four powers that rule the world. He added that they collapsed just as Europe as a whole is collapsing because of values or lack thereof. Values of political correctness. The values of justice were replaced with those of political correctness, the family values that have been replaced with those of hedonism. The birthright that fell below the red line caused European leaders to open the floodgates to mass Muslim migration that would fill the void, and Europe started to totally lose its character. This rabbi sees the developments unfolding as an opportunity for Israel to step up and take America's place as the world superpower. He supports his position by calling Israel a world leader in family values, saying, we've been called upon to fill this vacuum. There are problems inside the state of Israel as well, but unlike Europe, Israel leads the world in a stability of family values. The average amount of children per Israeli woman is double the average of the Western world, and this is what propels Israel's economy and creativity forward. Regarding a potential insurrection, this rabbi refers to the destruction of the Second Temple as evidence that a similar situation cannot reoccur, saying, as far as governmental stability is concerned, we are not similar in any way. There cannot be an anti-governmental revolution in Israel. With all the allegations we have regarding this and that corruption in the system of government, none of us have aspirations of a military revolt. We all recall the heavy price of the destruction of the Second Temple, and it can't be repeated. The rabbi also said that because Israel trails the Western world in alcohol and drug consumption, acknowledging that his proclamation could come across as condescending, the rabbi explains that in all parts of God's plan, saying Israel is stable and is called upon to take its place as a world leader in values. I realize that to many people this sounds very pretentious, but this is the template that God promised our forefather Abraham. Reflecting on the Jewish people who he says don't recognize the opportunity, the rabbi notes, the only ones who do not see this is us. The time has come for us to recall our destiny. We need to prepare for it so that we can fulfill it with all the necessary responsibilities and not make the mistake that they have made. So there's a lot in that, but this is paving the way for the Antichrist, and everything that's happening here in the United States is also paving the way for the Antichrist to rise. And now you've got people in Israel, this rabbi saying that it's time for them to become the world power, for them to live in stability. And we know that the Bible talks about how Israel in the last moments of time will be living in security and stability. And that's why the people from the outside will try to invade Israel, because they want to capture their booty or their loot or whatever that Israel has, because Israel is very prosperous. And this kind of explained a little bit how Israel is prosperous and how the women have a lot of children and how, it went on from there. So this is prime example and prime time for the Antichrist to rise. We have this chaos that's happening here in America, and that's going to continue to happen until Jesus comes, which I believe is right at the door. We have, everything that's being taken away. I saw, I didn't read the quote, I didn't read the article, but the quote, let me see if I can find it really quick. My internet's kind of acting funny, but, I didn't put it on here. It basically said, I'm not going to, this isn't word for word, but it's the CEO of Twitter. They want to, I can't remember the words, censor or basically get rid of everything that is conspiracy or misinformation. They want to delete and get out of there. And what's more of a conspiracy theory than the rapture? So when the rapture happens, everything's going to be gone. We have the Antichrist spirit that's rising, that's going to, and she mentioned how it's going to happen globally. Okay, this is not just here in America that they're trying to get this, get this rid of. They want it done globally. And if it had been just here in America, then I would just think, okay, well, that's just part of this whole new system. But because they use the words globally, that means that it's going to be centered around the entire world, that they're going to get rid of all this information. And it's no wonder that God has to use the 2 witnesses and the 144,000 Jews to proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ, because after the rapture happens, they are going to get rid of all of this information about the rapture as misinformation, that didn't happen, whatever, it's fake news or whatever. And so people are going to be wondering what happened, and they're going to be looking for answers, and everything's going to be gone. And so that's where this is headed. And they're already starting to do that now with believers. They're taking videos down. I watched the pastor J.D. Farag. They take his videos down because it goes against their terms of service. I myself have posted things on Facebook on my my Bible page, and they take it down as misinformation or fake news, or sorry, my leg was hurting, fake news or misinformation or whatever. They take it down. And so, they're coming for the Christians is what they're doing. But luckily for us as believers in Christ, we won't be here to see, the persecution of, Christians. I don't know how much longer we have. I can't possibly know that, but the good thing is that, we aren't appointed to that wrath, and God is going to be sending out his judgment upon the world. And, for the unbelief here in America with their shaking of their fist and the evil that is here, they believe that they have won this battle. And Satan is so thick that he just believes that, he has conquered all and that he has won this, this moment in time, and evil is abounding, and, evil is going to start taking over. But God always has the final say, and, it just does. Satan can have his moment of time, his moment of fame, if you will, but Jesus will always have the final say. So, the judgment that is coming to America for the lack of belief and the lack of listening to him and his word, that's what's going to bring judgment to America and to the world. So, until Jesus comes, we have to hold on tight, and we have to trust him and trust and know that he's going to take care of us in the midst of the storms, in the midst of everything, when it starts to look really dark and it starts to look like, what are we going to do? We need to trust that the Lord is going to take care of us, because no matter what happens, he's always going to take care of his children. He's not going to leave us out in the midst of the woods for the wolves to ravage. He's not going to do that. So no matter what happens, but also have faith and know that he is a loving God, and that he is coming for his bride, and that, no matter what happens, just keep praying and keep in the word and keep sharing the gospel as long as you can until Jesus comes. Because it's getting to the point where it's gonna, Christians are starting to be persecuted, and, I don't know how much longer we're gonna have, or how much more we're gonna have to see. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you, because it's just proof that the Antichrist is rising. They're starting to descend on the Temple Mount. The Jews are starting to descend on the Temple Mount. They're starting to call for their temple. And, I'm not saying thus saith the Lord, but this is my personal belief, is that the Antichrist is going to come in, and he's going to be the one that helps them to build that temple, which they're ready for now. Everything is set up for it. Like I was saying before, you have the red heifer that is only getting older, and they need to have that pure heifer for their sacrifice. And so that means that the rapture has to take place for the Antichrist to move in and get things settled. And I think with this chaos that's happening here in America, it's only going to set off war. I don't know what kind. I don't know if it's the Ezekiel or the Isaiah, one of the two. I don't know, but they're starting to get ramped up. And I believe that the outside forces are going to start to try to use the chaos that's happening over here as kind of like a disguise for them to invade and to do their thing over there. So, there have been some tensions that are going on over there with, the missiles being shot back and forth. But, that's going to be the perfect time for the man of sin to come in and try to bring peace in the midst of chaos. And, we have that right now. Or we will have that. They have so many military members that are in DC, to try to protect and do whatever. So it's going to be an interesting few days. We're going to have to wait and see and wait it out and pray it out, and, lift each other up and hold each other's hand and just pray over one another, and just, keep looking at Israel, because remember, that's God's timepiece. It's not America. It's not China. It's not Russia, but we have to keep our eyes on Israel and the things that are happening over there. And, just, keep looking up, keep knowing that Jesus is coming. And if you're not saved, I suggest that now would be the perfect time for you to do that, because you don't have much more time, and you don't want to find yourself left behind, because the things that are going to happen are only going to get worse, and you're going to find yourself in the midst of a big, huge trouble. So anyways, guys, I wanted to share that with you. I wanted to just encourage you guys today that, no matter what happens in the next 24 hours, that God is still in control and he is still coming and he is still on the throne, and he's not surprised by any of this, and we just need to trust him and know that in whatever circumstance that happens, that he is in control, even though it looks like it's falling apart, it's just falling into place. And we have to keep reminding ourselves of that, to know that, when it all, comes tumbling down, that, everything is just falling into place perfectly where it's supposed to be. So anyways, guys, if I find anything else out later, I'll come on and read some more for you. But that was one of the big ones that I saw today that I wanted to share with you. And and then also on I think it was Israel 365. I think it was. I'm not going to read it right now, but they're putting a train in front of the Temple Mount, and they're naming it after President Trump. That's on there too. So if you look at Israel 365, you'll see that the two top stories of the day was the one that I read, and then that one. And the train is interesting because that is going to be used to bring people to the temple for worship. And that's already done. So they're going to and planning on naming it after Trump. Let's see what it says. I'll go ahead and read a little bit here. I don't want to leave you guys hanging. Let's see if it'll load, because I was having trouble earlier. Yeah, there it goes. Okay. Let's see what it says. Okay, so an Israeli minister stated in an interview that he stands firm in his commitment to name the soon-to-be-built, so they haven't built it yet, soon-to-be-built train station adjacent to the Temple Mount, Donald J. Trump Station. Some rabbis note that the station will serve the third temple, and as such, the connection to the president is implicit. Finance minister, I'm not even going to try to say it, who served as Minister of Transportation about 2 years ago, said on the Good Morning Israel program that he does not intend to change his mind about the name he chose for the new station at the Western Wall. I did not change my mind. The new train station at the Western Wall will be named Donald Trump, named after Donald Trump. He is a huge friend of Israel who was the first to recognize Jerusalem. Okay, the honor is doubly fitting since Trump became the first sitting U.S. president to visit the Western Wall during his visit in Israel in 2017. The planned extension of the Tel Aviv-Jerusalem high-speed line will directly connect Tel Aviv's upgraded Ben Gurion International Airport to the Western Wall in Jerusalem. The project would involve the construction of the two new stations and a 1.8-mile-long tunnel under downtown Jerusalem and the Old City. The plan is likely to face opposition from the Palestinians, who claim eastern Jerusalem as the site of a future capital, as well as archaeologists who fear the construction could distribute artifacts near the sensitive historical site. Third Temple train. Others see the train as a necessary element of the Third Temple. This rabbi, who writes a blog in Hebrew called The Secret Energy is what it's named, related an anecdote in his blog on Thursday about this rabbi, a leading rabbi in Jerusalem in the 19th century. Fish related that this rabbi heard the whistle of the first train to arrive in Jerusalem in 1892 and said, "They are clearing the way for the Messiah. Redemption is on the way." Fish sees the pre-Messiah train phenomenon being played out to an even stronger degree with the new high-speed track that will bring travelers directly from the international airport to the Western Wall in Jerusalem. The train is expected to begin service in April, just in time for Passover holiday. A high-speed train is precisely what is needed for Passover, when all of Israel is required to bring their sacrifices to the temple. Wow. See, I didn't read this. I'm reading this first too. I just saw the title. I haven't read this myself, so this is a first for me too. Fish told Breaking Israel News, God, literally the name, is preparing the way for the pilgrims to arrive at the temple. Fish explained that a train has special characteristics that make it the most fitting means of transportation for pilgrimage. Practically, a train is the best means since it can carry many more people without dangers or traffic jams associated with highways. In gematria, Hebrew numerology, Rokvet equals 622, precisely the name as Har Bayet, the Temple Mount, Fish said. Interesting. So that's quite interesting. So by April, so everything is moving at warp speed, right? I guess the only thing we can do is wait and pray. So this is getting crazy and crazier and crazier. So anyways, I'm going to let that go. I went over the minutes that I was hoping to, but I hope that you see these two articles and you can just see the nearness of his return and see just how close we actually are. And, you know, the time is of the essence. And if you're playing around and you're playing Christian, but you're not actually a Christian, or you figure, oh, I'll just, if I see all this stuff start to happen, then I'll become a Christian. What makes you think that if you can't do it now, what makes you think you're going to do it later? Because later there's going to be another excuse. Oh, I'm just going to wait and just see if, you know, if this happens, or if, you know, what the Christian said kind of happens, then maybe I'll do it, or I'll do it then, or I'll do it when I'm, you know, you're not promised your next breath. Jesus could come now and you could be in the airplane, or you could be in a train, or you could be in your car and you die within seconds. So you need to make that decision now before it's too late, because Jesus is literally standing at the door, one heartbeat away. So anyways, guys, I'm going to leave that with you. And I'm going to just keep my eyes out for anything else that pops up, and I'll just keep you guys informed as best as I can. And, you know, I just kind of want to get back to Bible reading, but I love prophecy and I love things that keep popping out, and I want to share it with you guys. So, yeah. So other than that, guys, I love you, and I hope you have a blessed and beautiful rest of your day.